Hi, everyone. We're just going to give a couple minutes for everyone to get into the room. I can see the number is going up a bit. All right, looks like that number's pretty much leveling out. So just wanted to say welcome, everyone. I know not everyone could be here live, so there'll probably be people watching this as a recording on demand later on. I just wanted to point out on the screen that this is one of our career exploration programs this year and most likely into the spring as well. They're going to be virtual career exploration programs. We do love having you getting into offices, getting into certain facilities to be able to see and explore these different careers. But we do really appreciate being able to do this virtually just because that's the way we have to do things now to keep everyone safe and to work within everyone's school schedules. The main point of these programs is exploration. Some of you may be coming here not quite sure what accounting is, and that's great. You know, hopefully by the end of the day, you have a better idea for what this career path is. Some of you may have already made up your mind. Maybe you've already applied to and got accepted into an accounting program at a college, and you're just trying to confirm that you're on the right path. That's fine too. At the end of the day, you might decide, hey, you know what, accounting's not for me. You may say, I think this is for me, but I need more information. Or this might confirm and say, yep, I'm definitely going into the accounting field. And all those outcomes are perfectly fine. This is really just to help you gain more information and make some good informed decisions about your career. So I wanted to mention at any time throughout this presentation, throughout the discussion today, there is a Q&A function. I recommend you use that. If you have questions, don't put them in the chat. That's really not for that. The Q&A allows me, I can monitor, and then that way I don't accidentally miss one of your questions. What we're going to do, because they do have a little bit of a presentation set up here that we're going to probably wait to answer the questions until closer to the end. So again, just so I don't accidentally miss one, I don't want to skip over anyone's questions. Make sure you use the Q&A function for those questions. Chat would be for, we might be throwing like links in the chat or something if we want you to see or we want to reference something that you can check out later. So just wanted to mention that. Without further ado, I'm going to stop my screen share here, and I'm going to pass it over to the team at RKL, and they'll take it from here.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So my name is Ruchi Amin, and I'm a talent acquisition specialist on the HR team. And joining us today, we have Scott and Tom from our tax team. So I'll let them introduce themselves, and then we'll get started.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Scott Myers. As Ruchi said, I'm a partner here in the York office in the tax department. I'm a born and raised York Countyan. I've been here almost my entire life. So good to always be part of the give back to community and help York County out.
Hi, I'm Tom Kazar. I am a manager here in our York tax department. I've been with RKL for 6 years now. I left my hometown, came to York College for my college education, and then I never left York, and I'm still here and around.
All right, thank you. So we're excited to give you an insight into the professional services industry. We're going to start off by giving you an overview of the firm, then talk about a life of a CPA, and end with Q&A. So as Kevin mentioned, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please submit it via the Q&A box, and we'll get to it towards the end. So actually, before we get started, we do have a polling question. So how familiar are you with RKL?
We have just a few more coming in. It's actually a pretty quick response. That's pretty good. Just give everyone about 5 more seconds to make a selection here. And again, I know there's some counselors with a group of students in their room, so I imagine there's a Family Feud kind of situation going on here where they're yelling out answers. So we'll give that those few extra seconds. But okay, we'll go ahead and end it here, and should be showing on the screen right now.
Okay, great. So we have some folks who are somewhat familiar and some of those who are not. So you'll definitely learn more about the firm today, and hopefully get your questions answered. So about RKL. RKL is a professional services firm, and we're comprised of 3 entities. So RKL is the CPA and consulting firm. We offer tax, assurance, small business, and consulting services to clients. And you'll learn a little bit more about that throughout the presentation. And RKL Wealth Management is our investment advisory firm. So they provide different investments and financial consulting to clients. And RKL eSolutions is our IT consulting firm. So they provide various different IT services to clients. RKL has 6 offices here in Pennsylvania, which is mainly our CPA firm. So we're located in Exton, Lancaster, Reading, York, Harrisburg, and Mechanicsburg. RKL eSolutions, they actually have offices all across the US. We have about 450 team members across 32 states. RKL has been voted best places to work in PA for 4 years in a row now. We're #1 PA-based firm, and we're number 57 top firms in the US. We're also one of the nation's fastest growing firms. RKL has over 21,000 CPA clients that we serve. We have 142 licensed CPAs, and we have 50 partners of the firm. So RKL is an LLP, which is a limited liability partnership. So a partnership is a business that 2 or more individuals own and operate together. So the partners of the firm are actually part owners of the firm. Taking care of the communities we live in is really important to RKL. Here are just a few different organizations that we've worked with throughout the years. And RKL team members have volunteered over 9,500 hours in the community last year. We financially supported around 340 different organizations as well. And we also have a lot of team members that serve on different boards and committees throughout their communities. So here you'll see United Way Day of Caring, where we do, yard cleanup or paint houses, meal packing. We take part in junior achievement and Toys for Tots. So there's just a lot of different ways to give back and support our communities. Along with community service activities, we also have a lot of social activities as well. It's just a great way to connect with team members outside of the work environment. And here are a few different activities we've done throughout the years. Of course, this is all pre-COVID. Right now, it's a lot of virtual activities and trivia games and things like that. So next, we're going to have Scott and Tom give you an insight into the life of a CPA. And I think we do have a polling question that's going to come up here next.
Hi, everyone. I'm Scott. Talk about the life of CPA. Do you have the polling question?
I do. Sorry about that.
Right,
there we go.
It says, I'm interested in accounting because I'm a ninja with numbers. My friends or family are in the field and recommended I try it out. I'm not sure what else to study.
I'm not sure what else to study. Hopped out to an early lead, but it's now losing. So
The ninja?
give it a
ninjas. I never heard that term before. That's a good phrase. We'll have to coin that. I like that.
It looks like a popular one so far, so we'll give it a few extra seconds, but it's looking pretty good for that one. Spoiler alert there. All right, I think they pretty much leveled out. Give 3 more seconds. 3, 2, 1, and we'll end that. And there we go.
A ninja with numbers. Everyone's good with numbers. Well, that's a good reason. That's sort of how it got me started. I was always good at math. I didn't care too much for the reading and writing side of stuff, and so that's how I got my starting career. I went down the math, and I was debating if I wanted to be a math teacher, so I can coach sports in school, and my mother or the family business did all the bookkeeping and the records and filed the tax returns, et cetera, did the accounting for the business. And she had actually asked me if I'd be interested in doing that. So I took accounting classes in high school, and also became a CPA eventually. We took accounting major and graduated college with that. A couple of things I wanted to touch base on, what Ruchi had mentioned earlier about, community. Back on one of the slides, if you saw, there's actually a Walk a Mile in Our Shoes. We do like to give back to community and have a lot of fun doing so. Tom and I both were one of the participants the other year and wore high heels and walked around a mile of downtown York with a great event. But we also did a lot of other things, working with Leg Up Farm, Junior Achievement, the Y, different places, and just give back. And it's a lot of fun. It's great to be able to give back to community and help out others. And it's a big part of our culture here at RKL. So I just wanted to touch base on that a little bit. As far as the life of the CPA, accountants, pretty much everyone needs an accountant, or accountants are always required or needed or relied upon in the business world. We truly say the backbone of the business world to keep finances in check for everyone. It can be generalized or very specialized. And what that means is you can be very specific in a certain area. It might just be accounts payable. Maybe it's just accounts receivable. It could be very specific forensic accounting. It could be consulting. It could be maybe a certain industry, whether it's real estate, construction, manufacturing. As we talk a little bit later about some of the services RKL has, I can more specific. Or you can just be a generalized. You could be a controller, or a CFO, where you have to see the big picture, things like that. It's a lot of different areas and opportunities. And the roles and responsibilities can vary widely, and a lot of that depends on the role that you're in and the position you're in and what your requirements are. Some accountants will sit at their desk all day and crank out numbers and do some phone calls and spreadsheets. Others are on phone calls and Zoom calls now or meeting in person with advisors, trying to determine what the next step is, budgeting, planning, forecasting, solving problems, all that type of stuff. It really depends on the role. But as Tom and I can both attest to, no 2 days in public accounting are alike. And we've been doing this for a long time. And so it's a very interesting field to be in. Well, we got another polling question. Does anybody know what does CPA stand for in the accounting industry? Is it a chartered professional accountant, a certified public accountant, or a certified practicing accountant?
Well, there's one selection's off to an early lead, but I don't know if it's the right answer because I don't know what CPA stands for. I'm just kidding. I do. Actually, wow. Okay, this one, yeah, we pretty much in 20 seconds we got everyone answering this one. So I'll just go ahead and end it there at that point, and results should be coming up. But yes, there was one overwhelming answer.
Yep, certified public accountant. That is correct. We are CPAs. You hear refer to CPA all the time. I'm a CPA. Tom's a CPA. But we're certified public accountants. So what does a CPA do? We consult, advise, examine, research, manage, insure, all these different things and a whole lot more. When it comes to consulting and advising clients, it could be financial or tax issues. And that is a wide variety of topics and areas. I mean, it could be simple, how to just putting different things on the financial statement and categorizing that way, to budget cuts, trying to find reducing expenses, to how to grow our profit margins, etc. Tax issues, how to delay taxes, maybe accelerate taxes, depending, what happens in the tax law, all this type of advising. As you see, find a way for businesses to reduce costs, enhance revenue, improve profits. We're always doing that. whether it's financial statement perspective or income tax perspective. Businesses are always looking for ways to keep costs low and increase their profit margins. And by doing so, they don't only make more money, but employees make more money because they're able to have more profits to give out raises and bonuses, et cetera. From an individual perspective, when we talk about individual clients, we advise them on how to manage their money. That also leads into our wealth management practice. How to manage that. Our wealth management practice, I don't know if Ruchi mentioned or not, but we have over $1 billion of assets under management through our advisors here at RKL. That means of our client base, they have invested $1 billion worth of cash into different investments and portfolios for us to manage for them. And that's a big deal. We advise them all the time on how to do that, how to plan for college, how to save for college, how to pay for college, what to do after college. Is it best to pay off the mortgage at the house, et cetera? All those type of things, we're always helping individuals do. Examine. If you're an auditor on our tax team, our firm, you examine the financial records for errors or fraud. Typically when you audit a financial statement, you're not specifically looking for fraud, but something may come up during your findings and your inquiries into the management of the team, the controller, the CEO, et cetera, that might make you find something. It might be some transactions that you see that you're trying to question. So you're always, you're looking for that type of stuff. We examine business financial operations, identify issues, and provide solutions. What that means is cybersecurity. Do they have a weakness in cybersecurity that we can advise on? Is there checks and controls? Are they not having someone check the accounts payable clerk, make sure they're getting the proper signatures and authorizations to pay a bill, or deposits recorded correctly, things like that. Research, we're always researching. Regulations and industry developments are always changing, constantly changing every day, every year. And so we have to stay on top of that so we can advise our clients accordingly. Manage clients' financial operations, client relationships. We help them manage our financial operations, manage their team, but also part of our job as a CPA is to manage the client relationship with the client and the firm and ourselves and our team. Making sure they're doing okay. When COVID hit, making phone calls and just talking, is their family okay? Everybody healthy, safe? What are you planning to do? What's your projection going to be for the rest of the year? Do we need to talk about, spending cuts, et cetera, different options? What government assistance programs are out there that we can help them apply for and keep their business open during these difficult times? A lot of things that we do with that. We're, many different areas there. Ensure financial statements and records comply with laws and regulations. Obviously, if we're auditing or doing reviews on the company's financial statements, we want to make sure everything's okay. They're doing everything they're supposed to do, fair and ethical, to be okay there. And from a tax side, making sure the tax returns are filed according to laws and regulations that are out there. And when you look at all these things, consult, advise, examine, research, manage, and ensure, it comes to two words. It's being a trusted advisor for our clients. RKL, we strive to be the trusted advisor. We want to be the first person that an individual, a business owner, a company, a board of directors calls when they have any questions to do with their operations of their business. We want to be the first person they call, their trusted advisor, to help them through their difficult times and also help them through their profitable and the good times as well. So I think that's a pretty overall big picture of what a CPA does. I don't know if Tom has any other thoughts, but I think that's it there. One little interesting fact, did you know that FBI accountants brought down Al Capone, the infamous crime boss, on tax evasion? If you know who Al Capone was, big criminal, I forget when it was, but they could never catch him on anything. But what they ended up catching him on is tax evasion, and then he ended up going to jail and cost those millions of dollars in fines and penalties. But that's what they got him on, tax evasion. So it's a nice little interesting tidbit there. The CPA environment, what's it like to be in the office every day? Office versus travel. Well, sometimes and depending on what you're doing and what the clients want, you could be in the office most of the time. You do require traveling to clients, going out there doing audits, books and records, client meetings, et cetera. A lot of flexibility in public accounting. Busy season or tax season, which is really January through April 15th. Work a lot of hours, weekends, Saturdays, et cetera. A lot of hours, that's when we do a lot of our work. to get done. But then outside of that, it's a lot more flexible. You may want to work 4 10-hour days or half days and take some time off, and doctor's appointments, kids activities, etc. A lot of flexibility when it comes to the CPA environment. Collaborative here at RKL, because we have so many specialty areas between R&D studies, international tax, construction, real estate. You're always working with different people across all offices and service lines at RKL, and serving your clients' needs to the best of your ability and the best thing we can do for the firm. And there's a variety of work. I mentioned ITAC, international tax, R&D, business, individuals, trusts and estates, wealth management, e-solutions. What else am I missing? Real estate, construction, hospitality, manufacturing, distribution, all different industries that RKL has. There's forensic accounting, consulting work, divorce litigation proceedings, valuation work. There's so many different things that we have here at RKL that you start out as being an accountant out of college, and the options, your career path are endless that you can do. And everyone wants to say, why be a CPA? Why be a certified public accountant? Well, career development, bachelor's, master's degree, specialized certifications, CPAs, CFPs, certified financial planners, CSEP. I'm a CSEP, which is certified specialist in estate planning. You're always growing, always learning, a lot of different things to do, and your career is constantly developing. Job stability. Actually, CPA firms and accountants are projected to grow 6% by 2028, according to recent studies. That's a big growth. There's more and more CPAs that are needed out there in the business world all the time. It's a great time to be a CPA. Make an impact. Obviously, the business world depends on us to make sure businesses are operating fairly, properly, according to laws and regulations, and ethically. So everyone relies on that, make an impact for that, and earning potential. The average CPA accountant makes 10% more than the non-CPA accountant. Depending on what you do and what your career path is, the earning potential is limitless in accounting. You can do so many things. You get specialized in certain areas. You become the expert or the go-to person in your area. You can do very well. I think that's all I have for this section. I turn it over to Tom now.
Yeah, so another fun fact is the co-founder of Nike, Phil Knight, is also an accountant. So we just want to throw these fun facts in here because it shows that people that are very involved and high up in some companies are accountants that you may not know of. A good reason why to be an accountant for one of these companies is that then you know the financials of the company. You know what expenses you have, what type of loans you need, so on and so forth. So a lot of founders, just knowing the financials in general is a great trait for any kind of owner of a company or someone in a leadership position. So some of the skills that a CPA will need are listed on the screen. You have communication. Communication is big because especially virtually now, everybody has to be able to communicate efficiently and effectively. So if you're communicating one way, you might need to turn around and communicate another way in order to get somebody else involved, in order to teach somebody else virtually. Accountants need the communication with their clients, with their staff, with their teams, with other departments in their industry. So communication is a big skill that everybody needs to have, especially in accounting itself. Critical thinking is another big essential skill, because critical thinking, you need to be able to think on your feet. Clients will call you anytime that you have no idea when a client is going to call you on the phone. So you need to be able to help walk them through any situations they may have. They may be asking about purchasing another industry, purchasing another type of another company, moving into a different service line that they might have. So critical thinking is a big component of a CPA. Good judgment and decision making, You have to be able to make the decisions. You have to have good judgment on looking at financials. You have to be able to good judgment on people in order to build the staff around you, and also help your clients make decisions that they need in order to grow their business. And then creative problem solving is another one. Again, it's just like critical thinking. You need to be able to help clients solve problems. You need to be able to solve problems in your own work environment. So just being able to problem solve on your feet while you're doing the critical thinking is a big part of being a CPA. And then relationship building, which is one of the largest skills that you need in order to be a CPA in a public accounting firm. You need to build the relationship with your team around you, so your team will function as a team. And you also need to build the relationships with the community and the clients that you have. Being a CPA, you're a leader in the community. You are sitting on boards for not-for-profits. You're helping out in the community. You're doing community service. You're showing that you want to be a leader of the community, and you also are building the relationships with your clients. You want to be, as Scott mentioned before, you want to be the trusted advisor. You want to be the first and the last person that your client needs to call in order to figure out everything for their business. So just building that relationship, building the rapport with your clients is a big part of being a CPA. Another, did you know that the bubblegum inventor was also an accountant? So again, just random people are accountants, and you just would never know in just going through everyday life. So in a public accounting firm, here's the traditional career path going up. So usually at RKL, I can speak to RKL, we start either as an intern or associate. Sometimes when you're in college, whether you be a sophomore, a junior, a senior, we have internship positions at RKL in tax, audit, and small business. So we do internships in the spring and in the summer. The spring internships focus on both tax and audit, same as the summer. And what you'll do is you'll work with RKL for 20 to 25 hours a week, and just kind of get your feet wet on what we do in public accounting. And then usually our interns, we hire on full time. So two of the associates that you'll meet later on in the question and answer, they were both interns with RKL for multiple years, and they both came on full time as associates. So as an associate, the average starting salary is great at a CPA firm. As you can see below, the range is anywhere between $57,000 and $60,000. The associates do a lot of the preparation of work for tax returns, for audit work, for consulting work. They will do the preparation of the stuff that we need, the items that we need to give our clients. And then as you progress in your career and you start learning more, you will become a senior associate, which then the senior associates help the associates. They will review the associates' work, and they will start teaching trainings internally and start getting more involved with their clients. And then as a manager in a CPA firm, you will take on more client relations. You will do more of the teaching. You'll do more high-level review of client work. So after it goes to the associate and senior associate, the manager will take a big picture look at a tax return and make sure everything's correct, make sure everything looks correct for the client's financials, and produce a final product for the client and the partner. So a manager is the senior associate and the manager hold a lot of the accounting firm together. They're the ones communicating with the associates, communicating with the clients, communicating with the partners in order to make sure all the jobs get completed in a timely fashion. So after the manager, you have senior manager and practice leaders. So a senior manager does a lot of the similar tasks as the manager. They're more seasoned. They're here to help train managers and senior associates as well. They will do they have a lot more technical knowledge in order to with the years of experience that they have. And some of the practice leads, which is not on here, but again, it's kind of like a senior manager. They lead different departments at RKL. So we have a trust and estate practice lead. So they're in charge of the trust and estate portion of our tax department. We have cost segregation practice lead, which cost segregation is when somebody builds a building, they go in and break pieces apart in order to take deductions more rapidly under the IRS code. And then at the top, you have the owners, which are the partners. The partners are bring in the business and the client relations for the firm. They try to have the managers run the job, so they're ordered. They are the front line in front of, and the partners are in front of the clients. They are bringing in more business for the firm, growing the firm, and just the leaders of the firm and the community. So, and that's what everybody in public accounting really strives to become, is a partner of the firm, because then you're an owner. You're working for yourself and the firm. So you're trying to you're building your career to get to that point. So then everybody asks, what's the difference between public accounting and private accounting? So there's a lot of different aspects of both. I've worked mainly in public accounting, but I have seen the private accounting because RKL does what is called tax outsourcing, which we will have some of our employees or associates go and work for a private company as in a CFO role or as a staff role, preparing their returns internally. So I've seen part of that through that aspect. So I can kind of talk to both of these. So industry experience for the public accounting, you're really exposed to a broad range of clients. As Scott said before, we have a bunch of different industries. I work in healthcare, manufacturing, distribution, real estate, construction, medical. So there's a lot of different industries and different clients that you'll see. You'll see individual clients. We have pass-throughs, which are partnerships, and S corporations, which is a company, and then it gets reported on the individual's return as well. And then you also have corporations. So in public accounting, you really get to see a wide variety of clients, and you're not working on the same thing every day. As Scott said, no 2 days are the same. So you see a lot of different things through the different industries. You can keep on top of different industry trends as they work up, because you might be working on 2 or 3 different construction clients or 2 or 3 different manufacturing distribution clients, and you can kind of see how they correlate to the industry trends. Whereas in private, you really have a limited knowledge about the industry that you are working for. So if you're working for a company in the private sector, your industry knowledge is really limited to that company, and your knowledge of a tax return is limited to what that company files. So you're a little more, you do a little more repetitive work because you're doing every month close. You're doing month close every month. You're doing budgeting for the company. You're doing every quarter. You might be doing the same thing every quarter for that company. Whereas in public accounting, you are seeing a bunch of different clients. You might touch 100 or so clients a year. So you're seeing a bunch of different things in the public sector. A career path in public, you can move up the ladder very quickly. So there's a lot of opportunity in public accounting. If you have the drive and the motivation to get there, you can move up the ladder very quickly. I've been with RKL for 6 years, and I went through being an associate, being a senior associate, and now I am a manager. Whereas in the private sector, you might have a really slower career progression. People in the private sector usually stay at the same position for a multitude of years in order to maybe reach that next step, or they might just stay at that position and be comfortable and do the same thing over and over again and not have that challenge of progressing to the next step in your career. The work environment, It's kind of depending upon how you want to, it's not, the time of the work is the same. It's just at different parts of the year. So in public accounting, we're working long hours during busy season, which is compacted into 3.5 months. So in 3.5 months, you'll be working, as Scott said, the week, you might be working Saturdays, but it's compacted and you see a clear deadline at April 15th. Whereas in the private industry, you might work long hours, but you're working them every month close. So the beginning of every month, you might be working long hours. At the end of each quarter, you'll be working long hours, and that's throughout the entire year. So for public accounting, we see ebbs and flows of hours and how much time we have to put in. As Scott said, during the summertime, we're usually very flexible. You can there's more opportunity to take off. There's more opportunity to go network with banking, with clients, with lawyers. So usually in the summertime, the public industry is not as busy, and you have more free time to be in the community and stay involved. Certifications, public accounting, everybody strives to get their CPA, which I believe Ruchi will talk about later, about the steps into getting your CPA. It's very encouraged. You don't need it when you first start, but it's encouraged to get in order for you to climb the ladder. In the private industry, CPA is not required, but it is an added advantage. A lot of companies look for their controllers or their CFOs to have their CPA license, but you don't need to have it in order to step into those roles. Specialization. Again, for the private industry, I kind of talked about this earlier, that you're usually specialized in the industry that the company is working in. So if you want to switch from one private company to another, you will have to learn a whole new industry potentially. Whereas in public accounting, you're specialized in areas of interest. You may be specialized in tax or audit. You could be specialized in cost segregations, what I said, or trust and estates. You could be specialized in pass-through entities, which is again in a bunch of different industries. Or you can be specialized in an industry, but you're not just specialized in one company. You're specialized in an industry. So part of my niche is the medical field, which Kevin said you guys talked to the medical field last week, maybe, I believe. I do a lot with different closely held companies in the medical field, helping them with their calculations, helping them with their financials, tax planning. So I have more of a specialized understanding in the medical field alone. Travel, for the private industry, you usually have a set work location and there's limited travel. Whereas in the public field, you might be traveling to client sites every day. You might be traveling there maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks. In tax, we are normally in the office a lot more, but our auditors are at client sites week after week. They're at different clients. So there's a little more travel in the public industry, but the good thing about RKL is that our auditors, most of our travel is not overnight travel, whereas you will come back to your house every day. We don't have clients too far away where we are traveling and staying overnight for days, weeks at a time. So the travel, you may also travel for CPE as well. So in the public industry, you will be traveling more than the private industry, but it still might not be as much as you would think. So one more did you know is a number of celebrities studied and worked in the accounting industry, which includes Janet Jackson, Bob Newhart, John Grisham, and the Atlanta Falcons owner, Arthur Blank. And I believe I will turn it over to Ruchi.
Thanks, Tom. So next, we're going to talk about how to become a CPA. So first, you'll have to complete a bachelor's degree in accounting or finance and achieve 150 credit hours. So a lot of colleges actually offer 150 track program for accounting majors who are interested in pursuing the CPA. So this can mean they offer like a double major, so accounting and finance major, or they offer a compressed 3-year undergrad degree and a 1-year master's degree to help you obtain 150 credits required for the CPA exam. Next, you'll have to pass all 4 exams, all 4 parts of the CPA exam. And firms, including RKL, we do offer study materials, we do exam reimbursements to help our associates through this process. And you would have to get the experience. So you complete a minimum of 1,600 hours or approximately 1 year of experience under a CPA. So that's basically your first year as an associate. And then lastly, you would apply for the CPA license. And here are some just tips for success. So if you are interested in pursuing a career in accounting while in high school, we do recommend take as many accounting courses that are available at your school just to get that exposure. And when you're looking at colleges, make sure you research colleges with strong accounting programs. So again, that 150 track program that a lot of the colleges offer. You also want to participate in company visits, such as YCAL's Career Exploration, or do job shadowing programs as well, just so you get some more exposure before you make a decision in which area you want to go into. And while in college, we also recommend obtaining an internship so you get the hands-on experience and you can actually try it out before you make that final decision on your career. Plan on completing 150 credits. Graduate with a 3.0 GPA or higher, and network and get involved on campus. A lot of colleges have academic clubs, so that's your accounting and finance clubs. They also have other organizations, volunteering activities, and sports. So definitely get involved while you're in college. You can definitely network and I think just stay connected. Here are some opportunities for college students offered at RKL. So we actually host a summer leadership program called Catalyst. It's a 1 to 2 day program where students experience the RKL culture. They gain insight into the industry and different career paths. They network with professionals and other students, just participate in different activities and give back to the community. So it's a really great opportunity to just learn more about the industry and also be considered for internship positions. So we also offer internship opportunities for sophomore level and above in all of our different service line. It's a really great hands-on experience. And a lot of our full-time associates actually come from our internship program. So you can actually have an offer in hand before you even graduate college, which is really great. So next is Ask Us Anything. We have our associates, Maureen and Abby, who will be joining us today for this Q&A, along with Scott and Tom. So we're gonna have Maureen and Abby just do a quick introduction and then we'll get started. So if you have any questions, please submit them through the Q&A box.
I guess I'll get started. My name is Mara Hain. It says Abby on my screen just because we had some technical difficulties, but I am an associate in the York office in the tax department. I actually just started in August, so I'm fairly new. However, I did complete 3 internships at RKL in the York office prior to starting full-time my sophomore, junior, and senior year of college. I interned with them through their busy season, and I graduated from York College with a degree in accounting back in May.
My name is Abby. I'm an associate in the York tax office. I went to Messiah College and my major was accounting. I started full-time at RKL a little over a year ago, and before that I did 2 internships with RKL, both in the York tax department.
All right, sorry, was that everyone for the introductions? I just wanted to make sure I didn't cut anyone off. Okay, great. Well, the first question actually came in about 20 minutes ago, so I know this person's been waiting a bit to get their question answered. Can a CPA help even if you're going to be a private accountant? I'm not sure who'd like to jump in and answer that one.
Yeah, yes. A CPA can definitely, having your CPA license can definitely help if you're going to be a private accountant. Like I said before, a lot of companies are looking for their controllers or CFOs to have their CPA license. It's a great way to keep getting continued, having your CPA license, you need to continue, continue professional education. So you have to get CPE credits in order to keep your license up to date. So, and having that CPA license in the private sector will definitely help you in order to climb the ladder there, if that's what you're interested in.
Yeah, many corporations, CFOs, even CEOs were CPAs at one point, and most job postings in the private all require CPA preferred, if not mandatory, depending on the company. The bigger the company, the higher the position, more likely the CPA would be preferred.
Gotcha. All right, thank you. This one, I think this one's a little bit of a loaded question, but we'll see how you handle it. What math subjects are used in accounting?
Well, the computer does everything. We don't have to think about anything anymore. No.
Oh, that's good.
Obviously, it's addition, subtraction, but I guess statistics. What else would there be?
Abby, Maureen, you have any?
I had to take a statistics class, just like a general math class in college. But honestly, accounting probably isn't as math heavy as you think it is, because we have, like Scott was saying, we have Excel and we have other programs that does a lot of the math for us. So it's more important to learn Excel than necessarily learn the math, I would say.
Yeah, I agree with Abby.
Yeah, a lot of analytical thinking and problem solving is probably more important. The numbers are the numbers. It's just understanding what those numbers mean is probably more important than how to get to them.
Not to dissuade anyone away from accounting, but I used to hear that quite a bit, like, oh, I'm going to accounting because I like math, and it's like, okay, like that's great, but that's not necessarily going to be your golden ticket to be really successful if you're a good mathematician. I'm going to add a second part to that question, if you don't mind. Considering all the students that are listening to this are in high school, what are some subjects they might want to take in high school that might help them a little bit later on in life when they get into college, assuming they're going to be studying accounting?
Well, I know at Dallastown they offer accounting classes there, right? Accounting majors. I imagine most of the other schools, Red Lion, Eastern, some probably have courses on that as well. So if there's general accounting, principles of accounting classes that you can take, it'll be the first ones to sign up for. They'll give you a good introduction and background. I know I took it was like a half a year course, I think, in accounting way back a long time ago at Dallastown, and that course was like basically the first half of my semester in college as a freshman accounting class. So it was all reviewed for me at that time, so it's a nice way to get started. There's got to be accounting classes. There would be one I would take in statistics.
I know I personally did not take any accounting classes in high school just because I had no plans to be an accountant when I was in high school. But looking back, the classes that helped me the most were just basic computer classes. Really gave me a good foundation of how to use things like Excel and other programs. I took a finance class that was really helpful. And then also just making sure that you're paying attention and doing well in classes like English. You don't think that's going to help, but I know even in college, you have to have good writing skills in your accounting classes. And so things like that do end up helping you in the long run. So just striving to succeed in all your classes, because I know getting into accounting in college, a lot of students were so focused on accounting that they didn't think of things like writing and reading, but they were applicable. And so a lot of people struggled with writing papers, even if it was about accounting.
Yeah, and part of the CPA exam is the business law. So you have to take business law section of the CPA exam. So that's that's law. There's really no numbers in that course of the CPA section, so CPA exam.
Thank you for that. I actually just, there's a question that came in that I'm going to kind of bump up quick because it's somewhat related. Someone had asked what classes are available in high school for learning the program Excel. I'll just handle that. I'm not exactly sure how many high schools are on this call right now, but I know YCal services about 20 different high schools. I would say just talk to your guidance counselor, career counselor, because every high school has slightly different classes that are available. But I would imagine most of your basic computer classes would have Excel, that they would cover that, because I know I use it on a daily basis. I'm not an accountant, but I still use it on a daily basis. So I would just say for that one, I would defer you to someone at your high school to ask them. But again, as to echo what everyone said, it's a good train of thought. It's good thinking to want to brush up and be very good at Excel coming into college if you're going to be studying accounting. So good question, but I just wanted to address that one while we were somewhat on the topic. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, still on that topic, Kim Morris from Redline just chimed in and said, in response to Scott's comment about course in high school, Redline offers 2 levels of accounting as well as a college accounting course. So
college level, great. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and I know Dover does. I also know, I believe Spring Grove does. But again, those are just a few that I know offhand, that because I know we typically get groups coming from there when we would have the live at RKL session back in the day, back in normal times.
I'd recommend taking the intro ones and see if you like it, then go from there.
Yeah, that's great. I'm so glad that schools are offering more elective classes like that. Another one came in. What other certifications are there for accountants? So I guess besides the CPA, are there any other certifications that one could get that would be helpful?
I think we could talk about that for an hour or so. There's so many different certifications out there that you are able to get for accountants. There's the enrolled agent. You can go back to right now I'm in the master's program at Villanova to get my master's of taxation. So Scott has a couple certifications for a state. There's certifications for construction. Some individuals go for their CFP, their certified financial planner. Scott, I'm sure you can rattle off some on the top of your head as well.
Yeah, I mean, I got the certified specialist estate planning, the CFP. There's the construction ones. There's a lot of them that correspond between the wealth management, financial advisor, and CPA that are together. Enrolled agents. At the construction ones, CCIP or something like that. I forget what it is. Obviously, then you also just have masters. When I was in school, you need to have a bachelor's degree and so many years of experience, and now you need 150 credit hours, which is equivalent to a master's degree to get your license. So, Tom's working towards his master's, and there's a wide variety. But at the end of the day, the CPA is the most important one. That's the one that's going to stand out and help you through everything, because all the other ones are specialized in certain areas or industries where the CPA is the one that sort of encompasses everything.
All right, now here's I imagine we'll get some bias on the answer to this question, but someone has asked, do you need to start at a firm like RKL after college? So I imagine, you can chime in again, whoever asked the question, but if you'd like, but I imagine they're asking, do you need to start with a larger firm, or can you potentially work at a smaller firm, or start at maybe an accounting department at another company?
So, no, you do not need to start at a firm like RKL after college. I say that, but yet I believe starting at a public accounting firm is the best course of action to take, because like I said before, you're able to see so many different clients, you're able to see different industries. And if you learn through your career in public accounting, you may learn that public accounting isn't for you, but you may take up an interest in a certain industry. And then you can focus on, okay, I want to go into the private sector, but what industry do I want to focus on? I think a public accounting firm gives you at least a good base of knowledge and a plethora of knowledge in order to see a lot of different industries, a lot of different types of either taxation, account auditing. You can get a lot of bookkeeping experience in a public accounting firm. So I think going into a public accounting firm right out of college is definitely the best option. But no, you can start at a private company.
Yeah, I started at a smaller firm here in York, and I moved outside the area and worked at a firm that was 2 partners, myself and a couple of staff. And I went into private for a little bit and came back to RKL, and now RKL is, you know, as large as we are, but it doesn't matter. Some start out in the big 4, big top 10 firm, and then come smaller. Other people start out smaller and move bigger. It doesn't really matter.
All right. Next question is, would an MBA, so Master's in Business Administration, be helpful for accounting? I think Scott, you started to touch on that a little bit.
Would Matt repeat the question, please?
Would an MBA be helpful for accounting?
Yeah, I mean, they get their CPA license now. You have to have 150 credit hours, so you don't necessarily have to have a master's degree, but it's at this point, the 150 credit hours will get you your master's degree, so it would help. I mean, it's just a requirement. It's a uniform CPA license now to get. You need that many credit hours, so it's essentially 5 years of school. So you might as well just get your master's degree. It just makes it easy. Am I right, Ruchi? I think so, yeah.
Yes.
Another question that came in, I know we had started to talk about this a little bit, but I'm going to add a part 2 to this question. So the question was also, would public speaking and communications help? And then I'm going to just add on to that. A lot of times we talk about it in schools, we talk about soft skills, or we like to call them essential skills because we don't like it to be that they're optional. So, I mean, as you kind of go into public speaking communications, if you could also address what are some of the personality traits and work habits and work ethic type things that are helpful, specifically in the accounting field.
Well, public speaking is obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, it'd be a great skill to have. Prior to COVID, we used to do an annual, well, we're still doing it, but we have to do it Zoom now. We do an annual tax event every year, update over in Lancaster. I have clients, et cetera. There's probably 500, there's probably, I don't know, 500, 600, 700 people there or something like that. I've spoken at it 3 times now. So being able to do public speaking like that is a great thing to have. The soft skills are very important. Tom touched on it earlier. Communication is so critical, whether it's with our clients or internally with our team members, being able to communicate with people, because everyone has different personality traits. I know one of the programs we used to do before when we met in person, Kevin, we talked a lot about personality characteristics, and you learn how to work with people who have different characteristics than you. And so the soft skills is critically important, especially as you move up in your career in public accounting. You move up the ladder or the steps that Tom showed earlier. The more you move, the more you're responsible for management of people and how to deal with everyone.
I would imagine like being highly organized, and of course, you know, we understand there's some things where it comes to etiquette of, you know, what cell phone usage, you know, being able to speak to someone in a professional way, showing up to work at the time you're supposed to be showing up. I think those are all pretty important, but yeah, I believe, would you agree organizational skills are very, very important in accounting, in many jobs actually?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes.
I say if you're on time, you're late, and if you're 15 minutes early, you're on time. You know, organization. My daughter actually said that to me. My 8-year-old at swimming, I got her to swim lessons. I thought they started at 6. They started at 6:15, and she goes, "Daddy, I had to wait 15 minutes on the pool deck because I do swim lessons." She goes, "That's okay because I was 15 minutes early," which, like you said, is on time. You know, so.
Well done.
My 13-year-old doesn't agree with that, but my 8-year-old does. So.
This is a different question. I'm not exactly sure. I'll just read it and we'll kind of take it as we interpret it. How flexible is the accounting schedule for holidays?
I'll let anybody else. Abby, Maureen?
Yeah, we have really nice holidays off. And then normally the day before holidays, the office closes 2 hours early. So, I mean, I have no complaints about that. I'm really happy with our holiday schedule.
I haven't worked through holiday season yet, technically, but from what I've seen, the holiday schedule does seem pretty flexible. I know a lot of people have like their paid time off that they are able to accrue and like take off during the holidays. And because it's not our busier season, they're able to take that time off, except for Easter.
Yeah, Easter.
Do you really
Easter's
love
tough.
Easter? It might not be a career for you.
We just got our holiday schedule actually for 2021. The firm sends it out. Like Abby said, depending on how the days fall. If Christmas or New Year's is a Saturday, it's, you know, you'll get Friday off or something like that. But sometimes if Christmas is like a Thursday, you might get Wednesday and Thursday off, or Thursday, Friday off, or something like that. And you always close 2 hours early beforehand. A lot of flexibility. Memorial Day, everything. It's pretty good. 2 days for July. And we actually, depending on the days fall too, we might get floating holidays because a couple of them may just be on weekends, how they fall out. So we'll do floating holidays as well to use as PTO.
Yeah, we usually celebrate the holidays during tax season in the office if we have them. So we don't have off for like Martin Luther King Day or President's Day. We celebrate them in the office while we're working. But outside of tax season, as everybody else said, it's very flexible.
You don't work Easter Sunday. I should clarify that.
Well, that's good. I wanted to just kind of add to the just to the nature of tax season. A friend of mine from college, she's at a different firm as a CPA, but she pretty much every May, her and her family go to Disney because they know, mom is very unavailable for quite some time, starting in January all the way through April. So that's their usual family tradition, is they go on a vacation in May. She's kind of banked up all that extra time, working hard during tax season. So I would imagine when you talk about flexibility, you kind of at least know. I'm finding more, it's not so much about flexibility, it's more about being able to predict what your schedule is going to be, knowing that, hey, these couple months are going to be really tough, but then we have some flexibility later on, and kind of getting used to that. I think when it comes to sort of a work-life balance, that's a key. That's a key thing in almost any position.
That's a great point, because we know when our deadlines are. For all four of us are in tax here. So we know we have a March 15th, April 15th, September 15th, and October 15th are our big due dates. So we know what those are, so we can schedule around that. But I also worked in private for 1 year. And like Tom said earlier, you don't work any less hours in private than you do in public accounting. It's just different times of the year. In private, you have month-end closes. So the first week of every month, you're doing a close of the prior month. So you have extra hours there. So you might not work 4 straight weeks of that, but you every month. So that happens June, July, August, in the summer when you go to the beach or things like that. You have month closes. So there's pros and cons to everything, and there's sacrifices for vacations and family time in private and public. You just have to figure out which one's best for you.
Great. There is, another question came in, sorry. I'm currently taking elementary accounting and plan to take the college accounting course. Do you have any advice or websites to help reinforce the accounting principles and cycles? Oh, that is a person who knows their stuff. So I don't know if you had any resources or not you could point this person towards.
I can try to answer that. So I don't know of any specific websites, but in college, if I was unsure about a specific topic, or I went to a lecture and was just confused about stuff, I would actually look on YouTube for a lecture, and you have to be a little careful, but you actually can find some that are legit and are helpful.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did in college too. You can find some people on YouTube that explain things very well, and it's great because then you can go back and replay it. Unlike if you're in class, you can't have your teacher re-explain something 7 times. But other than that, I found that actually like taking the time to read textbooks was the best way to get me through accounting, because when you're in class, they can only teach you so much in a short period of time, and accounting is really complex. So just reading the textbook and understanding that before you go into something, just like doing a little bit of research, because before you start learning a new subject, I thought was the most helpful for me, going in with some prior knowledge.
I wish they'd had YouTube. I probably would have done so much better in economics in college had there been
Yeah, YouTube
YouTube
wasn't
back
around
then.
when I thought.
Because my professor was not very helpful.
I found too, like in college, professors are very helpful. I'm sure this, you got to talk to them, schedule time with that. But that's great, Maureen and Abby, the things that you said. We didn't have those availabilities, so I think we just had to read books and try to deal with it back in the time.
Also, using your peers, using people in your class. A lot of times, if you don't understand something, somebody else might, and what they don't understand, you'll understand, and you can come together. Study groups are a great way to get through almost any class, but especially in accounting, I used those.
Yeah, I agree with that. Sometimes it's helpful just to talk through a topic, and just through that process, you learn more.
Oh, thank you, Rachel. And yeah, Rachel had put something here into the AICPA organization also offers some high school resources. So you can look, if you look at the chat off to the side there, you can read into that. I had a question because someone had mentioned it throughout high school they weren't planning on being an accountant. I don't quite remember exactly who said that, but oh, okay, there you go. Oh, Abby, you mean? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, one of the Abbies.
One of the Abbies. So here's a question. Why did you, and this could be for anyone, why did you choose accounting as a career and a major in college? Like what sort of led you to that path?
So I genuinely had no knowledge of accounting going into college at all. I was really unsure of what I wanted to do after high school, which is totally okay. And it actually worked out for me very well, because I think if I would have picked something, it wouldn't have been accounting, and it probably wouldn't have been the right fit for me. So when I went into college, I went in undecided in business, because I knew I wanted something in the business field, but I had no idea what. So then I ended up taking my basic accounting 1 financial class my second semester of college. I was still undecided, and that class just really stuck with me. I felt like I really understood it, like I enjoyed what I was doing. And so that's how I personally ended up in accounting. I just really enjoyed that class. So not to sway anyone away from accounting, but if you have no idea what you want to do, definitely take the time to take a lot of classes and figure out what you like and what you don't like. Because if I would have rushed into something, I don't think I would have ended up with something I like as much as accounting.
So I actually had a very similar experience. I picked my major 2 weeks before I started college, and I had no idea what to major in. But I figured accounting is a safe career. It pays pretty well, so I'd give it a try. I had my first accounting class, and I ended up really enjoying it. So that's what I stuck with.
I think I mentioned earlier, I was debating whether to be a math teacher or accounting, and in high school, I had to take calculus and something else, and I was just I was good with algebra type of stuff, but when I got to the calculus and trig and that type of, I didn't want to do that, and so the math teacher was out, and I did my research a different way, similar to Abby. Accounting graduates, how often were they placed within the first 6 months of college? I would graduate in college, things like that, depending on the schools. And accounting majors seem to have a variety of opportunities. And so I just took a general major there and went from there. It seemed like a safe play.
So I was similar to Scott. I was debating between secondary ed mathematics and accounting. I had 2 very influential teachers through high school, my accounting teacher and my math teacher. I started going to college for secondary ed mathematics until my sophomore year. And then once I got into the classroom and did some observations in the classroom, I decided personally that it was not the best fit for me. And I switched over to the accounting major, and I'm glad I did, because I really enjoy it. I enjoy the field. I enjoy the challenge and just the fast pace of the profession. So that's kind of how I swung over back into accounting.
And I think Abby or Maureen, maybe it was Maureen, said it involves less math than you actually think. Like you take your accounting class, it's always about this and that. If I'd known what accounting was, if I'd known when I was looking for the time of my major what accounting actually is, been through it so often, I definitely would have chosen it right away, because it's so much communication, helping others, interaction with people. If you like to, most accountants you tend to think are the people that sit in the back corner and just crank numbers all day. And you might do a little bit as a staff, but as you move up through your career, it's less about the numbers and more about the interaction with the people and talking to people and helping them out on a daily basis. And the accounting, it's hard to explain that on a Zoom call, what you actually do every day. But if you get the opportunity to do an internship or take classes or shadow someone, I would definitely take the opportunity so you really understand what CPAs do in public accounting.
You know, unfortunately, Scott, the next question I was going to ask that I received was, what does an average day look like for an accountant? And now I kind of feel silly asking that, because you just said it's hard to explain on a Zoom call.
It depends on the level, what you do, and actually the time of year. This time of year, the average day is we actually had a department meeting this morning at 9 o'clock. Talked through the upcoming week of schedules, and then we're going to be in the Zoom call. I have a meeting with the staff this afternoon to go over the next assignment, walk them through that. I'll probably have a couple client phone calls or emails I'll have to attend to during the day. Parent-teacher conference does fit in at 2:15, a Zoom call with that. So that's my day right now. I can tell you, and look at the calendar, 2 weeks ago, I was probably on 3 or 4 meetings a day, trying to do the accounting for one of our large clients to get everything ready so they can file the tax return, which is due on Monday. Some of my clients are doing some acquisitions right now of some other business or potential. So I was on the phone with them, consulting what to do, looking at numbers, researching the company they're looking to buyers' financials, looking at it to see what I could find in there, dealing with personnel issues as a partner. You know, I do a lot of different things with that. It depends. My schedule tomorrow, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 meetings scheduled tomorrow. A couple client, one's an interview for somebody, one's a tax projection meeting. So that's sort of, it varies every day. And that's just now. I mean, tax season, it's pretty much client phone calls, emails between the hours of 8 and 5, staff questions. And after 5 o'clock, when all your clients go home to have dinner, then I sit there and review tax returns.
Abby or Maureen Abby or Maureen from an associate standpoint, what's if one of you could hop in and explain what an average day kind of looks like.
Yeah, like Scott said, it varies a lot, especially depending on the time of the year. Right about now, I'm working from home, and it's mostly, like at me and Mara's stage, it's mostly independent work. Like we're preparing returns and then it goes to someone for review. So I would say I work independently most of the day, but I have meetings, I call in charges to talk about work, people call me. So if you're introverted, you do get your independent work, but if you're extroverted, you get plenty of coworker interaction.
Here's one that also I think is a good one to address. What's RKL look for when hiring interns or full-time associates?
Good, Tom.
Okay, so one, I definitely think we touched on it before, is the soft skills. I personally believe that we can teach the technical. You learn part of it throughout your learning career in high school and college, but most of the learning is done on the job. So we can teach the technical skills. We're looking a lot for the soft skills. Are you motivated? Are you driven? Are you organized? Are you able to communicate? When I know Scott and I do interviews with individuals, I'm looking for it to be more of a conversation. I'm not looking for an interview. And I think this is for most interviewers. We're not looking to go out and grill questions to somebody. We're looking for it to be more like a conversation, communicative. We're looking for someone that's they may be outgoing, they might not be outgoing, but as long as they're able to communicate, have the soft skills, show up on time, I think that we can easily teach the technical skills to someone that's eager to learn and motivated.
If I have to, very, very well said, Tom. If I had to give advice, Kevin would probably laugh at this. I remember doing an interview for someone who wanted a senior position a couple of years ago. You get the resume, 4.0 in college. Didn't do a lot of extracurricular activities. I personally like to see if you do some extracurricular activities. It doesn't mean sports necessarily, but you know, if it's different clubs, volunteer programs, things like that, or you just go to the library every day, you know, how much, and really that tells me how much you're able to time manage. But this person had everything on paper. It was perfect, you know, checked all the boxes. Came in dressed to the nines, all perfect. But in the first 5 minutes, had no soft skill. The person didn't have any soft skill ability, was actually belching during the interview. And it's just, you know, sorry, like, you know, the soft skills are so important, because here's what you have to realize as a staff, you might not think you're going to be in front of clients, but even a Zoom call, like Abby and Maureen might be on a Zoom call with a client someday. It's your behavior, soft skills. You're going to go out to them in person, even though the partner or the in charge might be driving most of the conversation. Clients will turn and ask the staff a question, and you have to be able to think on your feet and have those skills right away. And the more you move up, the more the soft skills are even more important. So it's critical.
I would just there's I think one more, and this is kind of repeating, but I think it's sort of a good way to start to wrap up. Are there any words of advice you'd have for students that are looking to pursue a career in accounting? And I know some of this might be sort of rehashing what we've already talked about, but I think it's sort of a good way to as we start to wind down here, I think it might be a good thing to just revisit.
I'll answer quickly, and I'll let Ruchi or Rochelle or anybody else, Tom, anybody want to answer, but take any accounting classes that your high school offers. I think Rochelle provided some links for the students to go to from the AICPA. I would research that. Talk to anybody that's an accountant. If you know your parents have friends or family that are accountants, ask them. Ask questions. Ask your advisors in high school. Ask your guidance counselors, your advisors that are in the room with you now. Just ask as many questions. Understand everything you can about accounting to make sure it's the right something you're interested in. But go to that website and look at the tools. But definitely take those introduction accounting classes and see if that gets you started. Piques your interest, I should say.
This is Rochelle. I agree with what your statement is, Scott. I think some additional ways, you know, if you do pursue a career or a major in accounting in college, maybe you like it, maybe you're not in love with it. There are other avenues to go from there too. Like we mentioned some of the fun facts in the slides about, you know, different professionals that have, you know, founded Nike and created bubblegum, who were previous accountants. So it's always a great foundation to have in your back pocket, even if it's not what your career turns into. It's a great place to start, and, you know, would recommend at least exploring, and then who knows what other avenues you might get into from there. But definitely a good basis to have if you're looking to get into the business world, for sure.
Yeah, every business needs to understand accounting. Majority of CEOs, not just CFOs, but CEOs have some type of accounting background. And that just going back to RKL, how many auditors do we have now that are in our consulting practice doing valuation work? We have auditors and our tax people that go work for our wealth management practice now, advising clients and doing analysis of portfolios. It's so many different things, forensic auditing, going into companies and researching transactions to see if somebody's embezzling. You know, there are so many specialty niche areas that get your accounting base, get your experience, become a CPA, and go from there. Tax is the best, I will say that.
You say taxes are the best? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, taxes. There's two guarantees in life, death and taxes, right? And so if you're
Right.
doing estate and trust planning and taxes, tax returns, you have pretty good job security.
Well, I appreciate all that advice, and I wanted to say thank you. Just full disclosure, YCal does use RKL for the little bit of accounting work that we have, and very thankful for that. I also happen to sit on the board of a credit union, First Capital Credit Union. They do have auditors from RKL come in. I know they're very happy with just the professionalism and the service at RKL. So that's a big applause to you, Scott, and the entire team and everyone that works on that. You can tell it's a good culture, and very invested in the community in York, and really appreciate that and want to thank you for doing this. I did want to mention there is, I know we'd asked 3 poll questions. There's also going to be a survey that goes out after this webinar ends. It's just a general survey to get a couple of, just get an idea for how interested you still are in the accounting field, what college you may go to, and if if you've looked at a major. Just a little bit of an exit survey to see how well, how well we're doing with some of these programs and where you might be going. And of course, there are scenarios where occasionally students decide to go study accounting. They end up landing some sort of an internship or shadowing opportunity at RKL, and maybe they get hired by RKL one day. So that's continue to work those avenues and the people you might have met here throughout this. So really appreciate that. I didn't know if the panel had anything else to say, or if there's any parting words of wisdom they had, but I think I just want to say on behalf of everyone who was watching this live and who's going to watch it a little bit later down the road, thank you for your time, your expertise, and really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedules to do this for everyone.
I'd just like to say thank you, Kevin, for allowing us to do this every year. I know Tom and I have done it since day one, and we've enjoyed it. It's sort of, we look forward every year, and we're glad to do it. We brought Abby and Maureen in the mix this year to get them more involved, to get back. And Ruchi and Rochelle, thank you for everything you do as well. But thank you, Kevin, and all the YCal students out there, and all the counselors and guidance counselors, and everybody for allowing your students to take part today.
All right. Well, those are great words. I'm not going to add anything else to that. And I just want to say once again, thank you. Appreciate it. And you all have a great weekend. Good luck in tax season in a couple months.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.